5:48, so let's bring back in meteorologist Alan Rose to check for our forecast. Good morning, Alan.
Tony, good morning to you. You know, we saw record-breaking snowfall late last week, and that pushed our year-to-date total over 13 inches. In fact, that's the only snow we've seen for the month of January in 2026 so far. For Pueblo, a similar story, although not quite as much here compared to the Pikes Peak region. You picked up about 5 inches of snow. Normal year-to-date in both areas through today is about 1.5. Now, season-to-date totals, this might come as a surprise, are both above average in spite of seeing some really warm temperatures from late November into December, even the first part of January. So as we look at the observed January average through yesterday, the 11th, we are averaging a high in the low to mid 50s in both the Springs and Pueblo. Compare that to the monthly average based on the previous 30 years of data. We should be in the middle to upper 40s in both areas. This morning, as we get you out the door, you might still need that extra layer or two. 29 degrees, the current temp in the Springs. You probably don't need the snow boots unless you're working outside or going to be out and about, maybe on a hike later this afternoon. Temperatures today rising about 5 to 8 degrees to the lower 50s, and we'll tack on another 5 degrees to that tomorrow with a mix of sun and clouds. In Pueblo, you're waking up to temperatures in the mid-20s, a little bit of a westerly breeze, so the feels like temp is down into the teens this morning. Highs today jumping from the 40s to the 50s, and we could even peak right near 60 degrees as we look ahead to Tuesday afternoon. The reason for the warm start to the week: high pressure. That's our fair weather maker, the Big Blue H, right now anchored just north of Vegas. That's going to keep the storm track well to the north, but how long does it stay here? Let me show you the pattern as we look ahead, how it evolves over the next several days. Well, high pressure continues to keep the west coast dry, but we will get some energy that spills into the plain states as we make our way towards the middle of the week. Now, a lot of this energy is going to be a little bit east of Colorado, at least in terms of snow or precip chances. So for us, we'll be breezy and cooler on Wednesday. Snow's not likely. Then we get a stronger system on Friday, but the latest models keeping the bulk of the colder air, the bulk of the moisture, well east of the Centennial State. Check out your highs today, a mix of 30s, 40s, and 50s, so a warm up from what we saw over the weekend. The warming trend continues Tuesday, and then a brief dip in temps Wednesday, sort of a seesaw forecast as we're back to the 50s Thursday, and then the coolest air of the next 7 days moves in Friday to Saturday. In Pueblo, we'll see 50s and 60s through Thursday, briefly down to the 40s Friday to Saturday, and then back with that sunshine and 50s on Sunday. In Canyon City, it's going to be another dry stretch of weather for at least the next 7 days. Mainly a temperature forecast here with some mild air through the first couple of days this week. Even in Woodland Park, not seeing any big signals of any wintry precip or cold air over the next 7 days. We'll be in the 40s and 50s through Thursday, and then down to a high of 35 on Friday. Time now is 5:51.